Oh boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Three Dumb Dads.
Welcome, everybody. Apparently, that's going to be our new little thing here. Is the fact that we are constantly just going to say "oh boy" as we get ready to start, as we get to that last song, as we get right before the announcer comes on and promotes us. Apparently, we're just going to throw that out there every week. It'll be a different person each week. How is everybody doing tonight? How are you? Welcome to our humble home on Twitch.
Humble home?
I don't know. I just kind of kept going. Nobody else was saying anything, so I was kind of trying to fill dead air there.
We were just letting you roll with it.
Well, I mean, it's kind of how the night's going, since we had a couple little technical difficulties to start the night. Thank you all for hanging out and bearing with us and allowing us to still get this evening started. We have a pretty action-packed plan tonight. We took some time. We figured some things out. We are going to talk about basically three things tonight, two of which two of us know. The third thing, only Ebby knows. So first, we're going to talk about kids' parties, how do parents survive, COVID parties, birthdays, all of that. We're going to talk about an entire high school football coaching staff fired, and how would you react as a parent? And then Ebby has something in store for us that we have no idea what's going on at all.
Yes.
So, Ebby, I'll hand it over to you to talk about parents surviving birthday parties.
All right. Well, geez, I might be handing it right back to you because, I mean, you just had one.
One?
You know? Well, recently.
One?
Probably the most recent.
That's what I mean.
Party.
One. It was...
Yeah.
We took her to Great Wolf Lodge like 3 weeks ago. So that was party number one, kind of. Saturday night, we ended up over at Seth's house because it was his stepson's birthday as well as my dad's birthday. And Seth's birthday was just a couple days before that. So we kind of celebrated all three of them on Saturday night. Sunday, we had my parents and her parents over for a little mini party as well as my two brothers. And then Monday, her actual birthday, when my daughter turned 4, we had like a little mini thing, just the three of us. So it was pretty much like never ending parties. And then, oh, wait, hold on. Tuesday, she went to school and they had her little birthday party there. And they gave her a little like birthday party crown. She literally is still wearing it all day, every day. We didn't let her wear it into school today. So it's been a never ending birthday at this point.
All right. So you had a week-long party.
So far, it hasn't ended yet.
So it seems like it's turning into, instead of a birthday, it's a birth week.
It might be a birth month by the end of this.
But don't you love when like people say that it's my birth month? It's my birth month.
Good, you had a 1 in 12 chance. Congratulations. You and how many billion other people?
Yeah,
Right?
really. So I guess leading into that, so us parents, we got to prepare.
True.
Mentally, sometimes physically, sometimes getting the house ready wherever you're having the party. How do we do it? How do we stay sane?
Do we? I mean, I kind of feel like, to me, I think the biggest thing that happens is you get with your spouse, and you kind of, for my daughter's age, you kind of have to prepare weeks and months in advance, kind of going, okay, where do you want this party to go, kid? Which theme are we going to be on? This year for us was LOL dolls, as Seth and his wife, know very well, and I think gave her like 15 of them. So we had glitter everywhere. Good part was somebody gave her a glitter when we opened at his house, so it worked out well for me. But you have to think about the theme. What are they going to want? What are they going to do? But I mean, I think Seth can even talk to, as they get older, how does that change? I guess that's kind of the one question I have.
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever really does change, honestly. I mean, it gets easier as they get older for the most part. In that, they don't really seem to care as much about the party as they do like what they're gonna get, or like their gifts, and like I don't know. It's been weird because for the past 2 years, we really haven't been able to do a birthday party. Now,
Yeah.
I will say that, for my daughter, her birthday falls in the end of summer. So we usually always do her birthday at the beach. We usually always are at the beach, or, planning on going to the beach right around her birthday. We've done that for the past 4 years, I think. And we'll be doing it again this year. She'll be turning 10 at the beach. We actually leave the day of her birthday. So that's the one thing we always do for her. For my stepkids, we used to do Gavin had birthday parties at the movie theaters, bowling alley. We rented the game truck thing that came here with the TVs in the trailer, and his friends all played video games for 2 hours or whatever it was. Olivia's had ice skating birthday parties, I don't know if she did roller skating, but parties at like the house. And I don't know, man, like at a certain point, like I just think they get sick of it as well. Like they just want to have their friends over and get some birthday presents, have some cake, and just be done with it. But from a perspective of preparing for it, that's why, I mean, my wife handles everything, literally everything. Dude, I don't have to do anything. I literally
You just
need to show up.
correct that. No, you do what you're told to do, because she needs your help to do things, but she's the mastermind. You're just the worker bee.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, build this or put this together, or, make sure this is done. Like, that's fine. I can do that. But like planning and stuff, I'll help suggest crazy gift ideas, like if it's not our kids. And I mean that towards Matt mostly, because we buy Isabella like everything under the sun. The kid had
There's always one
wooden playhouse and a car before she turned 3.
Speaking of building things, that popped up on my Facebook timeline, or Time Hop, or whatever the heck thing it was. What did it end up taking us? 3 to 4 hours to put that house,
3 hours.
And there was a good 6 of us putting it together. If I tried to do that by myself, it would have been literally an entire day, if not more.
Yeah, Abby, this playhouse we bought her, we got it at Costco. I think it was like $250 or something like that. And we sent a picture of it to them, and we're like, we're gonna get this for Isabella. And I don't know if they thought it was a joke. I don't know if they thought we were being, we were just joking around.
Yep.
But we bought it. The damn thing weighed like 275 pounds, like no joke. All wooden.
I believe it.
Everything had to be screwed together. The instructions were probably in, it was probably a 40-page book of instructions. And there were 6 of us, and we put it together till it was after dark.
Oh yeah, I want to say we started around 3, and it was dark by the time we were done. 3 or 4, and it was dark by the time we were done. And obviously, her birthday is mid-April. It was Monday, so it took forever. And I mean, here's the thing: it is solid as a rock. Yeah. I think I probably need to really reseal the roof at some point, just because it's been out in the elements. But
reseal a playhouse roof.
But the thing about it
make
is,
sure you stain it too.
I might have to. This thing is it's a 6x6 house. You can throw some windows on it, cuddle up in a ball, and you can sleep in it. It's solid.
Don't give Aaron any ideas. You might be sleeping out there one night.
I'll just come down here.
It's funny again. Though. Like we had, my sister-in-law for the longest time was buying our kids like just the most ridiculous shit out there. Like beads. We bought the girl, my daughters, these bead kit that was like 4,000 beads. It probably wasn't 4,000, but you get what I'm saying. Beads just everywhere. And we said, we're going to get people back for buying them this stuff that's just awful. It's not that it's awful. It's just awful as a parent because we got to take care of, cleaning it up. And so
now, hold on. What did I do? Because Aaron and I were very conscientious about what we gave your kids. Nothing loud, nothing with a ton of pieces. We tried to make sure so that none of that came back on us.
What have we gotten her that's loud? Exactly my point. Nothing. We haven't gotten her shit.
Just lots of pieces.
There's been nothing. It's exactly lots of pieces, and I helped you put it together, so you can't complain about that.
Okay, that's true. I'll give you that.
From my sister-in-law's perspective, my nephew's, I think it was his first or second birthday, we got him a drum set. Payback.
Love it.
Payback.
That one was funny. I remember talking to you about that one.
There's things. I mean, from Isabella's perspective, I mean, we got her a car, one of those like battery powered cars.
The great part about that one is it was remote controlled, so even when she was too young to drive, I could do it for her, and she thought she was driving.
Look how conscientious we were of that.
I agree. I take it back.
I think honestly, this year with the LOL dolls, it's been the first like thing that could have potentially been messy, and that all got opened up at my house.
Exactly.
So it's, I don't know. I think people that have kids, you just got to be mindful of if you decide that you're going to buy somebody else's kid something that's going to either be a mess or annoying as hell, you have to be prepared for that payback. Because it does come in that way. So I think for the most part, we've been pretty fair towards Isabella. But now that you said that, I think I might change my mind for next year.
I was going to say this is going to get bad now. It's going to turn into gift prank wars.
Oh,
it gets back into last episode. So
I guess even with that, things do get messy. Things do get out of hand. What's your go-to? What's your go-to drink during these kids' parties? Because some of them, we've all been there. You want to leave as soon as you get there.
Well, I mean, on Saturday night over at Seth's, it was I believe I had 1 margarita, 2 margarita, 3 margarita.
3 margarita.
I didn't have a shot. My daughter, my daughter was singing it though. I think she was encouraging the shots. But yeah, I mean, that time we had margaritas. I know Seth and I a lot of times will drink some Irish whiskey.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just echo that. I mean, I don't want to say I'm not a drinker because I used to drink beer a lot, but there's some Tattered Flag Irish whiskey.
There we go. That's a little better.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly stick to Tattered Flags Irish whiskey and Dr. Pepper. Sometimes we'll just drink whiskey straight, but I'm not too big of a drinker or needing to drink to cope with everything. It's stressful though. Like I get very easily irritated about things whenever everything's like kind of out of whack. And so it's tough. Go ahead.
It's funny you say that because when we have parties, most of them are at the house because my kids got the February winter birthday and then the October
fall birthday.
Could be cold and shitty birthday. So they're usually here. And especially the past 2 years, as we know, I usually get anxiety a lot of what is going to end up broken. Just because they have cousins their age. We've all been there. When kids get together, they get crazy.
Kids are wild, man. Like, I honestly, there's some kids, like, I think, like, our kids are crazy sometimes, but, I mean, for the most part, they're pretty chill. But there's some kids that are, like, when you have them around, it's like, how do y'all deal with this? Like, they just run wild.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe it's just because like our house is relatively new. I mean, it was built like within the past 3 years. I'm like terrified that like somebody's gonna run through the wall or like knock a door off the hinges. And like, I mean, that's one of the reasons that we waited so long to buy a house, was because we wanted to make sure that our kids were out of that phase of, oh, I'm gonna color on the wall, or whatever the case might be. But yeah, I mean, the anxiety's there. I think my wife probably has a little bit more anxiety about things like that than I do. But like when things start getting out of mess, it freaks me out, and it makes me uncomfortable.
I think
without a doubt.
I think the one advantage, like when we hang out, like with you, Seth, is the kids are literally at this point ages 3 to 13. So like they're spread out. So it's not like 7-year-olds running around and being totally crazy, because if the little kids are crazy, the older kids are kind of watching them. If the older kids are getting crazy, the little kids are kind of staying away. So like they kind of counterbalance each other because it's such a wide variety in ages, and they all get along so well. So like the older kids are trying to like help them do something, rather than just the absolute chaos of like 5-year-olds.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Usually when the anxiety kicks in is when the icy lights start flowing, or recently I've been doing either Pink Whitney's.
Oh,
solid.
Pink
You know
Whitney.
what Pink Whitney is?
No.
You don't listen to Spit and Chicklets?
Oh my God.
Dude, I don't have time to listen to anything. I barely listen to us.
Dude, Biz and Whitney, their vodka.
Pink lemonade vodka.
Yeah,
Okay.
we gotta get some. I've been meaning to go to the liquor store to find some, because I think that they have it for sale here. Maybe I'll do that sometime this weekend.
And I know what we're doing Saturday night.
Either Pink Wits or a Crown Apple and lemonade.
Ooh, that sounds good.
See, I gotta be careful with stuff mixed with lemonade, because I get drunk like so fast because you don't even taste the stuff. Dude, I went to a wedding.
No, it's
so
was that the bus? No, was that the school bus?
Listen, man.
Is that the school bus wedding?
Yeah. So my wife's family, one part of her family lives in like Buffalo, New York, and they know how to party. And I went to a wedding with them, and I don't even remember where this one was. I think it was in Maryland or Virginia, and we were drinking vodka and lemonade, and I'm telling you, I got so drunk, I don't even remember like doing anything past like a certain point. I just know that like next day there were videos and pictures, and apparently they had a live band, and apparently I was on stage singing with them. Like,
that's
dude,
awesome.
I was so hammered that, I mean, listen, I apparently we had a good time. We were life of the party, but it's just real bad. Like, I got to try to stay away from that stuff as much as possible. I think part of it's also the influence. Her family was there like, oh, come on, drink more. It's like, okay.
Oh, it's probably just as bad as tailgating for a wedding.
Pretty much.
Oh, dude.
I did that.
So do we want to wrap? Do we want to wrap this segment up?
Yes, but it took a second to figure out what he was saying, and then I remembered what all happened before my wedding, because mine was basically the first one of all of like our college friends. So everybody in the church parking lot. I don't know what just happened. I think we just lost. What just happened?
You're kind of back.
Okay.
At least your voice is.
There we go. Sorry guys, I don't know why everything just cut out there for a sec. We should be good again.
Oh boy.
We can edit this out.
That's fine.
Oh.
There we go. We're back. Sorry, we're back now.
We're back like nothing happened.
Yeah, we're back. Nothing happened right there.
Right.
No, absolutely.
I think it's a great time for us to kind of migrate to the next topic.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about
so speaking of drinks.
Nikki's Made to Order Designs is a great place to be able to keep those drinks cold. Nikki's Made to Order Designs is our ad read for this week. So every week we try to highlight a small business, either around Pittsburgh area, Harrisburg area, or even anywhere around the country. Nikki's Made to Order Designs provide custom tumblers, shirts, pens, and more. Creating is a true passion of hers, and she values every single customer. If you have a vision, she is happy to bring it to life. As you can see right down through here, some tumblers. She has some pen cover, some pens, all kinds of stuff. Chilling with your peeps in custom-made onesies.
Well, I wonder if they come in my size.
You can probably get a custom onesie. I mean, I have a neighbor that sews. We can then send it to Nikki and get her to put the stuff on it. We'll get it done.
I don't think anybody wants to see me in a onesie.
That may have to be a challenge at some point.
Oh, I would do it. I don't care.
I know you would.
That probably comes with the lemonade and vodka.
Yeah, I have no shame.
But awesome stuff here by Nikki. If you or someone you know has a small business and would like to be featured on the Three Dumb Dads podcast, reach out. We'd love to highlight and share what your business is about.
Let us know.
Heck yeah.
Let us know. We're getting about 25 downloads per episode. Hey, we're slowly making our way up there.
We're starting. It's just starting out. It's gonna the ball's rolling. We're gonna gain momentum and start heading downhill and turning into an avalanche. As long as we
limit the amount that we let Matt talk.
Okay, I'll shut up.
For an extended period of time, we have a chance. No, I'm just kidding.
As long as my computer system doesn't just blow up on me again, we're good. I don't know what the hell just happened there, but whatever.
Yeah.
So
all right, Ebby.
I say our next topic is this Pine Richland coaching staff fired over alleged hazing and locker room misconduct. Ebby, can you give us a little background on this since it's out in your area?
So this broke last night. I know it's like Pittsburgh area, Whippeal high school football, but I'm pretty sure this news is going to make it across the state pretty quickly, just because of the powerhouse that Pine Richland has become. So we'll say it mainly involves their head coach, Eric Kasparovich. I actually had the privilege to be coached by him, also to be taught by him in gym class when I was in high school. Sum it all up, there is some allegations that are getting thrown around, but no one's really saying what they are. They're just kind of leaving it at this hazing, locker room misconduct. So what's kind of shocking and kind of upsetting at the same time is they canned the entire staff. Now, I also know the offensive coordinator of that staff because he was the quarterback of our high school team.
Interesting.
It's just weird. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the situation as intimately probably as you do, but I will say that, I follow high school football pretty extensively, I would like to say. And I read about it first thing this morning. And, I just echoing what a powerhouse he's made Pine Richland in the western part of Pennsylvania. I think he won 2 state titles, 4 WPIAL titles in 5 years as the head coach at Pine Richland. And, was just starting to really hit his stride as a coach and has talent that's being noticed. Not just here in Pennsylvania, but across in Ohio. And the allegations were very vague from what I've seen. Obviously, like Ebby was saying, the talks of hazing and, bullying, and it's obviously a very sensitive topic in this day and age. But I almost feel like, if there was something substantial, you would think before they make any type of decision like that, you would have to think that there was a full investigation that took place.
Yeah.
And from what I've read, and again, this is only Twitter and a couple of different news articles that I've read, but there was apparently some beef between the superintendent at Pine Richland and the attention that the head coach was getting because of the fact that he was, building this program into such a powerhouse.
Yes.
Again, I can't say whether or not that's true. I can't say whether or not there was hazing. We were all high school boys at one point. And now as a dad, I think about my kids and whether or not they're going to experience something like that. And, I don't ever want them to be subjected to any of the old stories that you used to hear about, how kids got hazed. And I can just speak from my perspective of, going to high school football camp at Penn State and being in the dorm rooms with, the older guys and, having to wrestle and fight older kids and stuff like that and getting into trouble like that way. But, that was always the extent of it. It was never anything, I've heard, people have thrown out like accusations of stuff being sexual in nature. And it's insane to think that somebody that's building a program that large and that, that has that many eyes on them would even allow something like that to happen, especially in this day and age where everything is recorded. That's the big thing, like the shaming and videoing things and then spreading it around social media. Like that's the stuff that's crazy nowadays. But we haven't heard anything about that. And I'm not going to say, this guy's innocent. I'm not going to say that, none of this stuff happened. But it seems like from at least what I've read, people that, live out there and have gone to school there, that there's apparently some beef. And the fact that the entire coaching staff was fired is just mind-boggling. Like if he did something, if he allowed something to happen and it continued to happen, I can see him getting the boot. But like for you to take the entire staff with him, it's just like something seems fishy about it.
And that was going to be kind of my point to it is in this day and age with just people the way they are in general. Like I coached a high school baseball team. There was, I think, there was 3 of us coaching JV, and there was like 3 main coaches for varsity, but then there was like 4 or 5 other like volunteer coaches. So you're talking a staff of like 10 to 12 just for baseball. If something was going on, one of those 12 would have jumped in and said something, but somebody on that staff would have said something to someone at some point, because it sounds like this was going back 8 years. Is that how long he's been there? I believe was 8 years. They interviewed players from 8 years ago. He's been
there. He's been the head coach 8 years.
And it sounds like they've interviewed people from the beginning.
Yeah, it's like they were really digging.
Yeah, and just kind of speaking to that, from the things that I've read, they've talked to multiple people across those 8 years, and there's kids that have said none of this has ever happened. I think that's the thing that's like, when it comes to sports like that, you're in a locker room with guys, which is the majority of the time, that's where this stuff happens, right? The hazing happens in the locker room. If one person didn't see it, maybe they're covering up for other people that did the hazing or whatever. But
I'll be right back.
Usually if it happens and everybody knows about it, right?
Well, so
it's, I don't know. It's going to be one of those things where I think we're just going to have to kind of wait and see what ultimately happens. And unfortunately, the job is done. But, hopefully if something did happen, then, they took the right steps and, removed him as the coach if he couldn't have control over it. But if something didn't happen, then that looks really bad on the school. And I feel really bad for the kids, because at the end of the day, all of this stuff, it only impacts the kids.
Well, yeah. And here's kind of my question to the whole thing is, I'm in a fraternity, and one of the big things from the national aspect is making sure that there's no hazing. Well, one of the things that we did while becoming a member was study hours. We had to, from 6 to 9 p.m. every night, Monday through Thursday, we had to be in the library. By technical rules, that is hazing, because you're forcing someone to do something against their will at a specific time in order to gain entry to your organization. So, here's my question. If by using that standard, if they pulled in a student that said they made me carry the water as a freshman, that's technically hazing. It's something all of us expect. We've all played sports. The freshmen carry the water out. The freshmen carry the bat bag.
The freshmen do everything. I mean, that's just the way that it is. That's the unwritten rule of sports. You're the new guy. You want to have a place on the team. You're going to do, how they call it, the bitch work. That's what it is. I mean, that's part of playing sports. And I think the one thing that really sucks in this day and age is that we're so quick to have all these kids complain, oh, I didn't do it, and then you have parents that are like, oh, this is a problem, when really it's not a problem. I mean, maybe in some people's minds it is, but when I think of it, I look at it from like my 13-year-old stepson's perspective. He's gonna be a freshman in 2 years, 1 year, 2 years. I don't know.
I forget.
When it comes to football, well, he's almost done with 7th grade, so another year and a half. When it comes to football, if you're going to play football, you're going to have to do those things. And it's, I mean, honestly, like carrying the water, like, is it really that big of a deal? Is it really that hard to pick all the stuff up at the end of practice? No. You earn your way onto the team, you earn your seniority, and that's it. But the problem that we run into is that these kids are coddled. I'll say it, I don't care. Kids are coddled nowadays. They don't like something, they don't want to do something, so they go and cry to their mom or their dad, and people end up losing their jobs over it. And I think it's ridiculous.
Not only that, but you can really ruin his reputation
without a doubt.
Oh, that part's the kind of the obvious part, but think about this. How many sports at this point have travel ball basically up to high school, and obviously beyond, but at least up to high school? Those
what are we talking about? Like
baseball, soccer. All those sports have travel components at this point. When you go and when you're playing in that, you're one of the elite players, quote unquote. You're playing at a high level, quote unquote. And now all of a sudden you come in at 14 years old and you're a freshman and you're competing against 18-year-olds that are seniors, and you expect to be at the same level? No, you're not. And you haven't earned the right to get to that point. You have to work your way through.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll say to that is, the problem, and I think, this is just widespread, is that these kids have access to everything nowadays. These travel teams are becoming, it's not even necessarily a talent thing. It's that there's so many travel teams. I think you can just look here in the Harrisburg area. There's 7 or 8 quote unquote travel teams for baseball.
Oh yeah, easily.
And I mean, the reality is that if you have the money and can pay for the registration, you can find a travel team to play on, regardless of how good you are. I mean, that's not guaranteeing that you're going to play, but you can find a team that'll take you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those types of situations that we're creating for these kids to then come in entitled and think, well, I'm a travel ball player, I should get to play. That's not the way it works. You either are good at something, and you can't just be mediocre at anything anymore. Like, well, I played on travel ball team. Okay, well, that doesn't mean that you're automatically good. I wish that there was a more level set of expectations that these kids bring into, when they come into high school. Like, number one, we're in Pennsylvania. So the chances of you being a professional at any type of sport is really low.
That's
right?
so small.
Well, I want to
It's
say
so small.
the statistic is, I think it's 1 in 27 high school athletes will play in college. So I mean, if you, so not even going to the professional level, 1 in 27 will play in college. So take everybody on your baseball team, one of you might play. Everybody on your soccer team, one of you will make it to college. Now,
And then
obviously,
not even to mention all the different
there's
levels.
well, I'd say, and obviously there's schools that are going to have 3-4 players. I mean, obviously that Pine Richland football team's not going to be 1 out of 27. It's going to be 5 out of or 7 out of, something like that. Obviously, you have your powerhouse schools that are going to have more, but you're going to have other schools that have 0. So it kind of counterbalances.
There's going to be a lot of schools that have 0. Let's just be honest.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and I think that from where we're speaking, all of these kids have to have the same type of mentality in that when I go to this next level, right? Just because I'm really good here, when I get to that next level, you're probably going to be middle, probably towards the bottom of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really have to have a mindset of, I'm going to have to work at this. I'm going to have to work at this really hard. And you have to get to a point in your mind. And I think as parents, we all need to kind of prepare our kids for these types of things, that when you get to this level, or if you have this opportunity, you're going to have to work hard at it. And it's going to be frustrating because there are kids out there that are just naturally talented and they are naturally better than you, or they've worked harder.
Well,
it's a really tough pill to swallow, I think, for a lot of people. But the reality is that, yeah, you may be the best player in the state, but when you get to college, what's going to happen?
The playing field's level.
Well,
Even from D1 to D3, it's
without a doubt.
Oh,
it's insane.
But simple math question: how many Major League Baseball teams are there?
What, 32?
Okay,
31, something like that.
So we'll say 32. 8 players on the field, 256 players in the world can say they're the best ones because they're the ones starting at the Major League level.
You mean 9?
There's 5. I'm thinking 5 pitcher rotation, so I wasn't trying to add in all of that.
Okay.
The 8 everyday starters are there's 256 players that have made it to the top. Every other player playing baseball is below them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Someone is better than you, and even there's one best player at each position.
And we're not even talking this country.
Oh,
we're talking world.
Yeah, the world. It's nuts.
I knew the stat as to what it was. It's 1 in like 15 or 16,000. It's something ridiculous. Like your chances of making it pro are so small. Stop telling your kid they're going to go pro. Make them strive for it. But
here, I'll give you a perfect example. Hannaford, we were just talking about this the other night when y'all were here. I played baseball against a kid in high school.
Okay.
Name's Derek Fisher. Not the basketball player, the baseball player.
I thought.
He's on the roster for the Toronto Blue Jays currently. He previously played for the Houston Astros. He won a World Series with the Houston Astros. He went to the University of Virginia. Was
that the trash can here?
Probably. But anyway, he went to the University of Virginia, played college baseball there, and worked his way up through the minors, got promoted to the major leagues. I played against him in high school. Hit a home run off of me. Farthest ball I've ever seen hit in my life. This kid, if you were to tell me in high school, he was unbelievable, right? Thought that, he was going to go, going to be one of the best players in the league. Yes, he's made a major league roster, but he's not even remotely close to being the best player in the league. Listen, the kid has a ton of talent. I would kill for that type of talent, right? I think everybody as a kid would be like, God, if I made it to the major leagues one day, that'd be incredible, right? Because just having that talent, like you were saying, those kids that, there's how many people that actually make it.
Yep.
But here was a kid that was hands down the greatest baseball player that I've ever played against. And, that's one. out of the entire state. It's crazy. I just think that, and I wish that parents had more heart-to-heart, honest conversations with their kids rather than, hey, I'll take care of this for you, or let me make a phone call. Just let your kids be kids. Let them deal with it. Like, I think if they are being hazed, if they are being bullied, then 100% something should be done.
100%.
But carrying a water jug is not being hazed and not being bullied. That is, it's absolutely ridiculous. And if it comes out that that's what happened, then shame on the school. Shame on the school.
Yeah, absolutely.
100% agree.
There's a Pittsburgh Post-Gazette article out. And to sum it all up, a former teammate of Casper's, that's what I know him as, Casper. That's what we called him in high school. That's what I'll probably forever know him as. Former teammate of his in high school moved back to the Pennsylvania area, obviously knew Casper, moved into Pine Ridgeland School District just so his son could play for Casper.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Apparently something happened. The parent dealt with it, and this was in 9th grade. So this kid's dad knows what happens in football locker rooms. We're all kids. Me and my wife were talking about it. Like 16, 17, or 18-year-old kids, you're going to do dumb shit in the locker room.
Facts.
I mean, I even told her, like, there'd be times after our games, news would be in there, the media would be in there, and then all of a sudden, here comes a kid half naked running through the locker room. But can't do that.
What teenage boys do, though.
Well, yeah,
for whatever
it's
unknown reason.
So, anyways, in this article, this dad is pissed. At least that's what I got out of it, because rather than the school district caring about his son and what's going on, they used him as a pawn. So this kid who allegedly was hazed years ago, his dad handled it. Now the school district is using that basically as the leverage to get him out.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I was saying earlier. It seems like there's been some type of personal vendetta there, and for whatever reason, they didn't want him there anymore. And the sad thing is, if it comes out that it was something stupid, which 99 times out of 100, it probably is something stupid, this dude's career could be ruined. I mean, and that's what people don't think about. They only think about little Timmy shouldn't have to carry that heavy water jug when there's bigger senior boys that can do it. Well, little Timmy should pick it up and carry it because he's a freshman and needs to earn his place.
And to my knowledge, he's still a teacher at the school that I went to. So yeah, he's the head coach of Pine Ridgeland, but he's a teacher at another high school.
Is he still teaching?
I hope this doesn't ruin his. Yeah. I mean, it's never been said that like he was fired from or put on leave or anything like that.
Sure.
But I mean, I've known him essentially for, we'll say, 20 years. Gym teacher and a coach. So basically, this guy is in a locker room 24/7. This shit never happened.
Well, and
I mean, I'll say it. There's no way it happened.
Well, and let me just say this: if something comes out and there was something major that happened, obviously we will eat crow as a group on that one, because there's too many things that make it seem like there's something else going on, especially as generic as they're being. And at least as of now, there doesn't sound like there's a police investigation into it, which to me, if there's no police investigation, or at least an announced investigation, that kind of makes it a little weird.
Well, I think, and if you look at it, so Pine Ridgeland just won the state championship this past season. What I don't understand is if something happened during the football season, because football's over, right? I mean, you probably have lifting and workouts and stuff like that going on right now, but for the most part, football season's over. If something serious happened, serious, I'm talking serious,
Yeah,
like legit happened, it should have happened. The firing should have happened during the football season.
well, it should have happened immediately. If something that serious happened, and I don't want to really bring it up, but if Sandusky serious, because to fire the whole staff, in my mind, it has to be something kind of on that level. Not necessarily the same thing, but it has to be, to me, criminal for the entire staff to get fired.
Just the way that they did this in firing the entire staff, I feel like they just wanted him and everybody that he's brought in gone.
A lot of his staff is former players of his.
Yeah, that's messed up.
And I mean, and that makes sense, obviously. And who knows? There's a difference between getting rid of the head coach and the staff following and relieving the entire staff, because I don't know of any even organization like pros on down. Nobody does that. You don't get rid of the entire staff. You get rid of the head coach, maybe the offensive defensive coordinator, but you keep the quarterback coach because he knows the system and those players. So you need somebody to at least tell the new guy what the talent looks like. Like somebody stays.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, a lot of high school coaches are teachers. So this isn't just like messing with somebody's high school coaching career. So this has even made its way to LeVar Arrington. You know LeVar Arrington?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he played with Casper in high school. Casper was a senior. LeVar was a freshman. They won states together.
How bad did he haze him?
Yeah, who knows?
But I mean, think about that.
Yeah. So LeVar puts on his Instagram, and I quote, "Pine Richland's leadership at the top will certainly go down in history of the worst leadership ever, if this is true. This is laughable because all this man has done is make a school that was only known as a rich kid's school relevant." So when I was in high school, Pine Richland, they had money. That's what everybody thought. They had money. We were a average football team. I mean, Neil Walker went there.
Cool.
That was it.
Story, dude.
That's my point.
Cool story, bro. Tell it again.
No, it proves my point.
Yeah.
They weren't relevant. And now he's sending 2, 3, 4 kids D1 every year. Ben DiNucci, he's the backup quarterback of the Cowboys. Played for Casper.
Yep.
I mean, I just don't get it. I don't see it. Me knowing Casper, the type of guy that he is, I don't see it happening.
Well, we will be sure to follow up on this and keep it in our news feed, talk about it anytime there's updates, and continue to share some reactions, because I think it's important not only from a high school football perspective and the kids' perspective, but also from a parent perspective. We can talk about more things as they come to light, and hopefully, what we hear is what we're thinking. This guy was wronged for whatever personal vendetta there is, but until any of that stuff comes out, it's really hard to speculate, and I hate to do it, but it just seems fishy. So we'll leave it at that for tonight, and we'll let Abby go into the blind reaction that he has planned for us, whatever the hell it is.
Oh, hey, by the way.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Flyers won in the shootout. I had to.
Where does that take you in the standings?
It doesn't matter. We beat the Penguins. So you two were talking crap before we went live earlier. So
it's a perfect segue. So staying with hockey, we were texting the other day about the trade deadline.
Okay.
So what I want to do is I put together 5 of the best NHL trade deadline trades and 5 of the worst.
Okay.
Just
Strap
to see
in,
some
boys.
reactions. Maybe, throw in like a quick point or two. But let's just see what you guys think.
Okay.
I figured it was fitting. Trade deadline just happened.
Yep.
We were talking about it. Flyers. Let's do it. All right. So, starting off with the best. No particular order.
Okay. I was going to say, is this like the best of the best?
Well, hold on. Let me see. Yeah, we'll say the last 2 I think are the best and the worst. So, best. Ray Shiro, magician at the trade deadline. Trades Colby Armstrong, Eric Christensen, Angelo Esposito, and a first-round selection to Atlanta for Marian Hossa, Pascal Dupuis. Now, I'm going to give you the results of these trades.
Okay.
Hossa was no more than a rental player and lost back-to-back cups, where Dupuis, in my mind, developed into the steal of that trade, notching 232 points in 418 games after the trade, developed into a solid two-way player and a fan favorite in Pittsburgh.
Without a doubt. I mean, the Hossa thing is, I don't know. I think it's kind of funny because, he had the chance of staying with Pittsburgh after that deal was over and decided, I'm going to go to the Red Wings. And, what happened in 2009, the Penguins beat the Red Wings in the final though to win the cup. So he lost back-to-back. He lost with the Pens in 2008, and then he lost with the Red Wings in 2009.
Yep.
So the Hossa part was definitely but sending Colby Armstrong away, I know he's still I know he's back with the Penguins on the TV, AT&T Sportsnet or whatever, doing analyst type stuff now. Dupuis was a huge pickup. I mean, he played alongside Sid for how many years, and they just had such chemistry. Yeah, he came from nothing and developed into one of the most popular Penguins players to ever play for the franchise. I mean, you can put him easily up there. Go ahead.
I was going to say, well, just think about play with. It hurts me to say this. Playing with Crosby, you're having those conversations, and you're getting those little nuggets that are just going to make you that much. Hey, when you see this, do this. It will take you from, if you have the talent, now you have the eye to see what's going on. That's going to make every player that he's played with has been better after playing with him. It hurts me to say it because I don't like giving Crosby kudos, but he is one of the best players to play ever. I will say that.
Yep.
So I don't want to derail this real quick, but I'm going to. So pause for a second, Ebby. This is more recent. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but I guess a week or so ago, did you listen to Spit and Chicklets this week, Ebby?
Who was on?
I don't know. It was before they even had a guest on, but they mentioned it.
Okay.
I had actually seen it the day after it happened. Brandon Dubinsky.
Oh yeah.
Who plays for Columbus. I think he's still on their roster technically, but he's out on long-term injured reserve. Apparently was on a podcast. I don't know if he was a few beers deep and made comments, but he said that he would take Ovechkin over Crosby any day, and that it doesn't even come close to that decision. Now, there's a lot of bad blood there. Dubinsky and Crosby, they hate each other. I mean, the playoff series that the Penguins and the Blue Jackets have played over the years they've been brutal. I mean, and I don't know this for a fact, but I mean, we could obviously look back, but I don't think any of the cup runs that the Pens went on they had to go through Columbus to get there because they just beat the crap out of each other. I don't know if you really take anything out of, Dubinsky's mouth to be anything other than the fact that he hates Crosby, and that's, what fueled his comments. But what are your thoughts, Matt, as a non-Penguins fan?
So
if you're looking at it,
looking at both of those teams, looking at the Caps, looking at the Penguins, obviously I don't like either one.
Right.
Looking at Crosby and looking at Ovechkin. Now, I'm going to put on a GM hat here and kind of go through what I would be thinking. So if I have the option of picking up both or picking up either one, I can only pick up one. There's a couple things I would look at. If I just need a pure talent player, I already have leadership. I already have some of those other things that I don't necessarily need in the locker room. I may take Ovechkin only because I think pure skill one-on-one, I think Ovechkin helps pull some other players different ways. I think Crosby, all but right there, but he brings the locker room, he brings the team on his back. So it would really come down to who else do I have? Do I have that locker room leader that's going to carry the team, and I can just use the talent that Ovechkin has, the sniper, and have the supporting roles around him to make him the best offensive attacking player? Then maybe I take him. If I'm just building a team around somebody basic, I do the same fucking thing the Penguins did and draft Crosby and keep him forever because he is the talent and the leader. And It hurts me to say that, but he is.
Well, I think you have to look at it from I will not take a single thing away from Alexander Ovechkin. I think he is potentially one of the greatest, if not the greatest, goal scorers ever. I think early in his career, he was, I don't want to say he took nights off, but he did. Yeah, he was kind of lazy.
Yep.
And I think that over the past couple of years, he's kind of picked that back up. He's actually helped them win the cup. And I don't think anybody can take away, that perspective of his game. Yeah. But just from a two-way hockey player, I don't think that there's, even to this day, everybody wants to run and say McDavid's, electric. And I think that he is an electric player. But until you've got years and years and years of experience in the NHL, maybe he will be better than Crosby one day. But I think for the time being and based on the results, 3 Stanley Cups, multiple gold medals, it's kind of hard to bet against the kid. And Dubinsky's thing was always, he cried. And one of Brian Whitney's points, and Biss was actually talking about it as well. Back in those days, Crosby was getting run at every single play that he was on the ice. Hammered. He was getting destroyed. If stuff like that happened today to McDavid, could you imagine what they would be doing? The league has done I think a good job at trying to protect its stars for good reason, but they haven't always been that way. And so, I'm fairly confident Crosby already gave an interview before saying that had he the chance to go back, he probably wouldn't have complained as much, vocally to the refs and stuff. But, at what point? This kid was, 18, 19 years old, playing against grown-ass men, getting thrown around like a rag doll.
I think he had 99 penalty minutes his rookie year.
Yeah.
Well, and that was me as a Flyers fan. That was always my issue with him early career. Now, don't get me wrong. 3, 4, 5 years in, you've established yourself. You've shown you have the talent to play there. Sure. Then start getting in the ref's ear. But when you're doing it as a rookie and sophomore player, that's where I had the issue with it. Now with the C on his jersey, go talk to them every fucking play. That's fine. But that was where Crybaby Crosby came from. There was a reason Flyers fans held up a penguin with a teardrop.
let's be
If he was on your team, you'd love it.
Thank you, Ebby. Thank you.
No.
Let's be honest.
No. 100. If
you could trade Claude Giroux for Sidney Crosby, you would do it every fucking day of the week.
I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I just said I would have drafted him. But I would have had somebody going, dude, that's our job. You shut the fuck up and start scoring goals. That's the only thing you have to do. That was where I had the issue early. Like I said, early. Year 3, year 4, you're fine. 1 and 2, shut the fuck up and learn to play.
So moving into one of the worst trades, ironically sticks with the Flyers.
So hold on. Before we get into this, because obviously there's two sides of every trade. Are we talking like the overall trade just was bad for both teams, or like somebody did something fucking stupid and F their own team?
It was bad for at least one team.
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry. I just wanted to clarify.
The first Eric Lindros trade.
Oh, trading him up to how did he go? Montreal?
So Quebec sends Lindros to Philly for, get ready for this,
I don't want to think about it again.
Peter Forsberg, Mike Ritchie, Kerry Huffman, Ron Hextall, Steve Duchesne, Chris Simon, a draft pick, and $15 million. Moving on.
I was saying, there's no words. I mean,
literally, they could have just.
Did they get anybody other than Lindros? I can't remember now. Was it just Lindros for like 97 players and a ton of money?
I think it was. Yeah. Yep.
You could have just traded Eric Lindros for Peter Forsberg, and it still would have been one of the worst trades ever.
So here's one of the best that I am just dumbfounded that this happened. The Red Wings acquire Larry Murphy from Toronto for future considerations.
Gotta love the future considerations.
Result of this was Murphy went on to win back-to-back cups again. He also led the NHL in plus minus during both of those runs with plus 28.
What did they end up getting out of that trade for with the considerations? Anything?
I'm not sure.
That's always the interesting, like when they do like the stupid ones like that, like it's always interesting to see who they drafted or who they got down the line.
Yep.
But yeah, that's a stupid trade.
Yeah, so think about it. Murphy was paired with Fedorov when he played defense and Lindstrom. He's a Hall of Famer.
Crazy.
Worst trades.
All right, is every one of these a Flyers trade because you did the list?
This one's Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Pittsburgh trades Marcus Naslund. Vancouver for Alek Stojanov. Who is Alek Stojanov?
I was going to say, you got some dinner in there? Stroganoff? Like what? Who?
Yeah. So Stojanov managed to play 45 games in Pittsburgh.
Hey, you got half a season in.
While Naslund went on to score over 100 points multiple times and was the Canucks captain at one point. So there's your point. Like, so it was a bad trade for Pittsburgh, but a good trade for Vancouver. So here's a best trade. The Avs acquire Ray Bourque and Dave Anderchuk from Boston for Brian Rolston, Martin Grenier, Sammy Paulson, and a first-round pick. Now, they did this at the deadline in 2000. Ray Bourque liked it there enough where he signed a one-year deal and then went on to win his first Stanley Cup. He also scored 59 points in 80 games at the age of 40.
I'm gonna say the first of the Not first, but one of the first that we were around for of the 40-plus-year-olds that were just still destroying.
Yep.
I mean, Yager's like 78 now, so is he still in the NHL? No, he's not. He's not, finally, but dude played forever.
So, worst. Sticking with the Avs. Montreal trades Patrick Waugh.
So Quebec.
Waugh goes on to win 2 cups in Colorado. Not to mention, Patrick Waugh is the last goalie of a Canadian team to hoist the cup. The cup has not been lifted by a Canadian NHL team since '93.
Wow.
Long drought. Hey, listen, this year could be a different year. I don't want to like jump on the bandwagon of Toronto, but dude, they're playing lights out hockey right now. It'll be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see how these 4 divisions and like the playing interdivision for the playoffs and then meeting, how all of this is going to work.
Oh yeah,
but
especially with Vancouver all having COVID.
Yeah, I think it's crazy to say, but like I do not see a scenario where the Leafs are not coming out of the North Division. I just don't see it. I think that they're too good, and they're too.
Well, didn't they just pick up Foligno?
I don't know. Did they?
Yeah, they picked up Foligno at the deadline, which gives them even more offense and leadership in that locker room. That
Foligno's a turd.
Well, he is. He tried to fight me back in the day. I was helping coach my brother's in-house team at Twin Ponds. So literally like guys that could barely skate. My brother could literally barely skate. Ran into Nick accidentally. Tried to go after him. I yelled at him. He tried to come at the bench at me. I'm like, dude, you're like 14. Chill. But hey, it was an NHL player, so he went on to do big things because of his name.
Yeah.
What's your next one?
All right, so this is a best trade, but it is nothing but luck. Sometimes you need a little bit of that. So, Tampa Bay Lightning acquired Andrei Nazarov and a first-round pick from San Jose for Brian Marchment, David Shaw, and a first-round selection. They also made another trade on the same day to acquire a third-round pick. Now you're probably thinking, why is that a best trade?
Is it LeCavier?
Because that first overall pick was Vincent LeCavier, and the third-round pick turned out to be Brad Richards.
I'd say you won.
LeCavier is a huge. I mean, he's one of the. I mean, he has to go down. I mean, aside if Stammer would have stayed healthy, I think Stamkos. I mean, he still may be the most memorable Lightning player, but LeCavier was huge for them.
I mean, that's insane. Like, how do you land that? I mean, shame on San Jose. Jeez.
Sucks.
Yeah, but you don't know.
You don't?
So here's another one of those worst good situations, worst best situations. Timo Solani goes to Winnipeg, or goes from Winnipeg to Anaheim. Solani then goes on to win the Rocket Richard Trophy and wins the 2007 Stanley Cup, while Winnipeg moves to Arizona, then kind of moves back, and the Thrashers move to Winnipeg.
Yeah, it's. I mean, some of these things, I honestly, I think sometimes these trades end up happening because the front office is in turmoil and they want a scapegoat for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Team's not performing well. We're going to trade this guy because, he's just not playing up to what we expect of him. When in reality,
you saw it with the Flyers this year. That was exactly what Fletcher said for the Flyers. It was, we were going to get rid of him now because we just, we wanted to sign that guy because we think he's going to be great. We can't leave that hole too. And I'm like, you're literally talking in circles.
So this last one, this is the last best one, and I think it is probably one of the best trades of all time. Pittsburgh Penguins, 1991.
Ulf Samuelsson.
Acquire Ron Francis, Ulf Samuelsson, and Grant Jennings from Hartford for John Cullen, Zarley Zalapsky, and Jeff Parker. Pittsburgh goes on to win back-to-back cups. Ronnie Francis goes into the Hall of Fame, regarded as one of the all-time greats. Ulf Samuelsson is a tough blue line center. Hartford, he lasted 6 more seasons in Connecticut, moved to Carolina, made the 2002 Stanley Cup Finals, captained by none other than Ron Francis.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome.
Now he's the GM of the Kraken.
Speaking of the Kraken, how not the alcohol.
The Kraken?
But sure. Who do you think your team's gonna protect or let go?
I've been seeing a lot of the Pens where Zach Aston Reese is gone.
I was gonna say, I think from a Penguins perspective, he's probably the one that's gonna have the most attention. I don't think that they have 2 solid goaltenders. Casey DeSmith's been playing really well. Tristan Jarry's been good, but I don't think that they're gonna. I think Jarry will be somebody that they protect, and I don't think DeSmith's gonna have that type of caliber out there like Fleury did, where Vegas scooped him up. I've actually heard some rumblings that Braden Holtby could be selected out of Vancouver to go to Seattle.
Interesting.
Which
Team
I think
Oshie?
would be. I think that I saw Oshie too with the Caps. I think Holtby going to Seattle would be good for him. I think that he could be the veteran presence netminder that they need to start things out, kind of like what Fleury did in Vegas, and would be a good kind of rebound for whatever happened when he went to Vancouver.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be crazy having a team from Seattle and just having a team named the Kraken. I think they've done a lot of good things so far with like the media coverage of it, having the fans pick the name and submitting designs for the logo. I think it's cool as hell.
Their logo is amazing.
I like their colors.
Between the colors, the jersey, the logo, just all of it.
They did such a good job with the Vegas Golden Knights as well. Yeah. I mean, dude, their logo and their jerseys are so badass that, they came into the league and automatically were in the top 5 in terms of jerseys.
And they went to the Cup?
Yeah. First year. And they're still stacked. Dude, they're still loaded.
I love their retros.
Oh, yeah.
Red. Oof. Mm-hmm. All right.
I say, here, looking at
the
these
worst trade of all time.
Hold on. 30 second time out. We're looking at these Seattle jerseys.
Just
the tentacle, the S, the little I, the anchor. That's also the Space Needle.
The color is incredible.
Like, just so good. And then
it's gonna be awesome.
I think Space Needle, is that hidden in there?
Hold on,
it's in the top.
Here, let me pull this one up.
Pull up the anchor. It's at the very top of the anchor.
You look right here. The anchor is the Space Needle at the top.
I think I think Seattle definitely deserved a franchise. I think that if they can have the types of crowds that the Seahawks have when they talk about loud. My God, can you even imagine playing there? It's going to be pretty intimidating, but I think go ahead.
So I was just going to to your point, the Seahawks gets loud, the Sounders get loud. for
Yep.
soccer.
Think about just like from a production level, like what all the Knights do, like the Golden Knights in Vegas. Like they've done a lot of things the right way.
Mhm.
I mean, some of it's kind of weird, but
Get a Vegas
Yeah.
show at a
Yeah.
hockey game.
so all right, let's go to the worst trade of all time.
What you
You want
got?
to take a stab at it? Anybody?
Worst
I
trade.
mean, this is just like a opinionated,
Worst trade of all time. So we're talking.
But some would say facts.
How many are we talking? Recently, like, are you going back a certain? I mean, in my mind, the worst trade of all time is Edmonton trading Gretzky to Los Angeles. I mean, that has to be in my opinion.
The Oilers trade Wayne Gretzky to the Kings for 3 first-round picks, 2 players, and $15 million.
Yeah, I mean,
don't understand how you trade a Gretzky. Now, he did take the Kings to a cup, but they lost. Never won a cup again. He also found his way to St. Louis and New York. Now, I'm just going to throw it out there. Mario only played for one team.
Yep. No argument here.
No, there's. What am I going to argue?
I mean,
So there were some other ones that I found. I mean, but I just kind of stuck with ones that I know. I mean, another worst trade that I could throw out there, but it had to happen, was when Yager got traded for Chris Beach
to the Capitals.
It was. I actually had that up on my screen. It's Yager and František Kuchera. I can't even say his fucking name. To the Capitals for Beach, Sivek, Lupashuk, and future considerations in cash.
We needed that cash, though.
Yeah, to save the igloo.
Yeah. Could have been playing at North Park.
Yeah, no kidding. We'd have turned into a roller hockey team.
But that's it. That's the list. Some good trades, some bad trades.
So, what are your predictions on the rest of the season? How do you see this shaking out? I mean, I think right now, like, the crazy thing is, and I don't know if y'all have been following the standings or anything like that. But like I said earlier, I think Toronto, Jack Campbell has kind of come in and just lit up the place in Toronto. He's a legit number one goalie. I think he's 8-0, or he might have gotten his first loss recently. But up until that point, he was 8-0 with Toronto. I just don't see. I think, Winnipeg's a good team, but I don't think that they have the talent like, Austin Matthews and, Tavares is up there. You guys said Foligno's now there. I think they're stacked, and I don't see anybody even, maybe McDavid can make a little bit of a run and Edmonton can keep it interesting, but I think Toronto takes it out of the North.
I think what's interesting to look at, like as I quickly look at the standings again, so like out in the West, in the Honda West, you have Colorado and Vegas both at 60 plus points, Minnesota at 53, and then everybody in fourth place and down is a max of 44. So if you move over to like almost any other division, if you had 45 points, you're in fifth, you're in seventh, you're in fourth. So like these divisions with all playing in the same group, it's such a weird dynamic because the Flyers sitting at 46 points in most of the rest of the divisions would be in a playoff spot. And at this point, they're in sixth and pretty much out of contention because it's been so much more like it's weird this year.
The East is just, that's the black and blue division for sure.
Well, I mean, we knew it was going to be coming into it.
I think honestly, the team who makes it out of the East won't they'll either make it to the cup final or they'll get knocked out in the semifinals just because of the fact that it's going to be a slaughterhouse trying to get out of that division.
Oh yeah,
it might be the West's year. I mean,
you got Washington, the Islanders, Pittsburgh, and Boston.
cool.
The Rangers are kind of hanging in there, but I don't expect them to make much noise at the end of it.
I would say Boston with 2 games in hand and 4 points. Unless they collapse, unless they Mets collapse, they're probably the 4 seed.
I mean, you're talking so the Islanders and the Penguins literally beating the hell out of each other. The Capitals and the Bruins beating the hell out of each other, and then whoever wins those 2 matchups has to beat the hell out of each other to try to win.
Yep.
It's gonna be tough. I think Toronto comes out of the North. I think you flip a coin, and 1 out of the 4 in the East any 4 of those teams could easily win. I would probably say the Islanders are the least likely. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, the Isles always have the Pens number.
Well, and if it ends up being Washington and Pittsburgh, it probably leans Pittsburgh's way, but it's one of those where it depends on which teams decide to play, and the penalties would play a ton into that. Who can convert on the power play?
I think the Central's tight. Carolina, Tampa, and Florida are all within a point of each other, I think.
Yep. Yeah, they're out 60, 59. Carolina actually has 2 games in hand on Florida, who's a point behind them, and a game in hand on Tampa Bay, who's even. Who's
in 4th right now, Nashville or Chicago?
Nashville with 49 points, although Chicago has a game in hand at 45. So they could end up, if they come back to even, they could just be 2 points behind. So that's still that 4-5 still kind of up in the air. Dallas is kind of still around at 42 because they only played 41 games.
I think, I mean, Carolina or Tampa Bay, either one of those. Florida could be in it too. I mean, Florida's been playing really, really good hockey, and could easily be, in the mix as well. I think out of the West, I think the Avalanche and the Golden Knights are the 2 favorites that are gonna, play to find out who comes out of the West. But I don't know, man. It's been a crazy year. I kind of want it to go back to normal, like just like the regular traveling and schedule, so we can play everybody and have a little bit more diverse of opponents. It's cool seeing fans back in the stands, though. It's got to be exciting. Sucks for the people in Canada because they can't see anything, especially when Toronto's playing as well as they are. It'd be only fitting for them to win a cup this year, and nobody can watch it.
Nobody can watch it. If that happens, does it really count?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just been 20. How long's it been? 28. How long's it been?
Since 93.
Yeah, how old's that?
28
years? 28 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, it happened. They're just going to throw a massive ass party outside, would be my guess. I don't know.
It'll be Justin Bieber and Austin Matthews.
Honestly, I think honestly this year, as long as they can keep Justin Bieber out of the locker room, I think Toronto's got a really good shot at as anybody at winning it. Colorado's dangerous. They're stacked. Their offense is incredible.
Yep.
And also, if Toronto does win, that breaks their 53-year drought.
Well, there you go. 53 years.
Last Stanley Cup win, 1967.
Jeez.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
All right, boys.
All right.
Well, I think
another good one.
I think that kind of gets us to the end of the episode, doesn't it?
Yeah.
My little screen.
What's on tap next?
I'm not even sure.
It's a surprise.
I say
2 weeks time to figure it out.
I say we have 2 weeks. there's a couple things we're working on. So if Seth and I get a chance, we're hoping to have our first my daughter guest in 2 weeks. We'll see if we can get that arranged. I know the person we're trying to get to come on has a super crazy schedule lately. Just massive things happening. But if we can get that to happen, we will let everybody know via social. Make sure you do follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, on all of the socials. 3 Dumb Dads. There's a Facebook page, and you can always catch us on your favorite podcast platforms. Ebby, any final thoughts?
No.
Seth?
Don't think so.
No. Thanks for listening. If you are out there listening and you made it this far, we fucking love you.
I say, if you've made it through all of these episodes and you've gotten to this point, throw a comment on where you're listening to us from, how you found us. We'd love to know. And if there's a topic that you guys want us to cover, we will certainly do that. We are always looking for new ideas. We want to know what you guys want us to talk about. If you have guest ideas, if you have theme ideas, if you have stupid challenges for us to do on stream.
If you're a dad and you want to be a guest and you have something interesting to say, shit, you could just have one interesting thing to say. We'll talk to you.
For sure.
We will talk.
All right, everybody.
Have a good one.
Thank you all for coming in tonight.
Oh, boy.
We will see you on the 29th. Have a great night.
Boy.
Later.